Dad fixes the fan evening in the living room. The family relaxes together. A standing fan spins, making a soft rattling noise. Everyone looks up at the fan. Dad stands up confidently, taps his chest like, "I've got this." Mom and the kids watch, half hopeful, half unsure. Dad removes the fan cover. Screws and tools scatter on the floor. He leans in close, twisting and adjusting. The kids sit nearby, watching intently. Dad plugs the fan back in, presses the button. Lights go out. The fan stops completely. Silence. Dad freezes, holding the screwdriver. Mom crosses her arms and raises an eyebrow. The kids look at the fan, then at Dad, trying not to laugh. Mom hands out paper fans to everyone. The family sits together, fanning themselves. Who's the best? Bluey and Bingo reach for the same toy. Their paws touch, brief stare. Both pull the toy at the same time. Stop, turn away, arms crossed, pouting. Dad walks in and notices the tension. He crouches down, tilts his head, thinking. An idea pops into his head. Dad points to the floor, signaling a challenge. Bluey jumps very high, lands hard, slips and rolls once. Bingo jumps lower, lands perfectly, strikes a proud pose. Dad raises his eyebrows, unsure. Dad gestures toward the messy toys. Dad compares both boxes, nods thoughtfully. Dad decides to demonstrate. He bends down to clean, trips, falls, toys fly everywhere. Bluey and Bingo burst into laughter. Mom enters and takes in the mess. She gently pats Bluey's head, then Bingo's, pulls them into a hug. Bluey and Bingo clean up together, working as a team. Dad sits on the floor, exhausted but smiling. The family relaxes together. The secret camping trip. The two kids are fast asleep in bed. Mom and Dad look at each other and signal, "Let's go!" They tiptoe quietly, grab their backpacks, and sneak out of the house. Outside at night, Mom and Dad set up a small tent and turn on a warm yellow light. They sit across from each other, eating grilled food and laughing comfortably. Back at home, one child stirs and wakes up, looks at the other bed, empty. The two kids grab small flashlights and quietly sneak outside. From far away, they spot the glow of a tent light. They hide behind some bushes and peek in. They see Mom and Dad happily eating. The two kids look at each other and get an idea. They drape white cloths over themselves and shine flashlights upward from below. From behind the tent, spooky ooh sounds are made. Mom and Dad jump in surprise and turn around. Dad drops the food. Mom clings to Dad. Both panic and hurriedly pack up. Abandon the tent. Run back home. The kids pull off the cloths, giggling. They run after Mom and Dad. The telescope. Dad brings home a brand new telescope. The whole family gathers around, eyes shining. The daughter and Mom clap with excitement. In the yard, the daughter looks through the telescope, sees the moon. Mom looks next. Mars comes into view. The son, curious, carries the telescope up to the roof, / a higher spot. He doesn't look at the sky, but turns the telescope toward the distance. The boy's expression suddenly changes. He sees someone struggling in the water far away. The boy urgently signals to the family. The whole family runs. They rush to the water's edge. Mom and Dad pull the person out safely. The person coughs, then starts breathing again. The family exhales in relief. The rescued person presses their hands together in thanks, bowing repeatedly. Dad looks at his son, gently pats his head, eyes full of pride. Who's scared who? Bluey and Bingo peek from behind the couch, grinning mischievously. They put on silly ghost costumes, blanket plus paper eyes. The girls tiptoe dramatically. They giggle silently, covering their mouths. Dad walks by, relaxed, holding a snack. Bluey and Bingo jump out together. Arms up, ghost poses. Dad freezes, drops his snack. Trembles slightly. The girls exchange proud looks. Dad quietly grabs a blanket, turns off the lights, disappears. Bluey and Bingo look around, suddenly nervous. The room is silent. A shadow moves behind them. Suddenly, Dad jumps out wearing the blanket, making a big spooky pose. Bluey and Bingo scream silently and jump into the air. The girls run in circles. Dad chases them slowly, exaggerated and silly. Everyone slips and slides, but no one gets hurt. Bluey and Bingo hide behind Mom. Dad removes the blanket, laughing. The girls peek out, then laugh too. They all collapse onto the couch together. Where's the remote? The family sits in front of the TV. Dad presses a button. Nothing happens. He looks at his hand. No remote. Dad looks around the couch. Bluey and Bingo peer at the floor. Mom crosses her arms, thinking. Quick montage. Dad lifts couch cushions. Dust flies. Bluey reaches under the couch, pulls out toys. Bingo flips pillows. Empty. Mom opens drawers. Only spoons and napkins. Mom walks into the kitchen to get water. She opens the fridge. The fridge light turns on. The remote is inside. Mom freezes. Mom walks back holding the remote. The family stares in disbelief. Mom looks at the remote, then back toward the fridge. She gives an embarrassed smile. They sit back on the couch. Dad finally turns on the TV. Mom double checks it. Freeze frame on the family laughing. The missing fish at the supermarket. Mom and Dad stand at the fish counter. They choose a live fish and place it into a plastic bag filled with water. Both nod in satisfaction. Dad drives. Mom holds the bag with the fish. The fish swims gently inside, occasionally splashing. They cross a small bridge. A sudden bump! The bag flies out of Mom's hands. Whoosh! Splash! Into the water. The fish swims away out of sight. The empty bag floats on the surface. Mom and Dad freeze. From the opposite side of the road, the sun appears. A fishing rod rests on his shoulder. In his hand is a fresh fish. The boy walks casually. Mom and Dad stare in disbelief. The boy lifts the fish and smiles brightly. The fish is back. Dad gently pats his son's head, eyes full of pride. Sharing living room. Two kids are playing with their toys. Toys are scattered all over the floor. They start arguing over each toy, pulling back and forth, tense faces. No one wants to give in. Mom walks over, gentle but firm. She takes the toy from the son and gives it to the daughter. The daughter hugs the toy, happier. The son stands still, lowers his head, looking sad. Mom gently pats the son's head and walks away. Nighttime. The bedroom door opens quietly. Mom and Dad step in, carrying a big gift box. They set the box down. Open the lid. Inside is a box full of toys. The kids sit up suddenly, eyes shining. The son completely forgets his anger. Both kids laugh and reach into the box together. Dad puts an arm around Mom. The family sits close together, warm and happy. Don't poke the bees. Backyard on a sunny day. Bluey and Bingo are playing with a ball. The ball rolls near a small beehive hanging from a tree branch. The girls stop and stare at it, curiosity lighting up their faces. Bluey picks up a small stick. Bingo hesitates, shakes her head, then leans in to watch. They exchange mischievous smiles. Bluey gently pokes the beehive. The hive wiggles. One bee flies out, buzzing. The buzzing grows louder. Bluey and Bingo's eyes widen. They turn and run. They run past Dad, drinking a snack. Dad looks up, sees the bees, panics, runs with them. All three dash inside the house and slam the door shut. Bees bump gently against the window, then fly away. Inside, everyone pants heavily. Mom stands there with arms crossed, eyebrow raised. Bluey and Bingo lower their heads, embarrassed. Dad copies them, a little too dramatically. The whole family laughs. Our little vegetable garden. Mom holds a packet of seeds and points to an empty patch of soil. The whole family gathers around, nodding excitedly. Dad uses a shovel, swings too hard, dirt flies everywhere. Bluey giggles. Bingo digs carefully with a small trowel. Mom hands out seeds. Bluey sprinkles way too many in one spot. Bingo places them one by one, neatly. Dad drops the whole seed packet. Everyone looks at the pile and laughs. Bluey grabs the hose. Strong spray. Dad gets soaked. Dad freezes, dripping wet. Bingo gently adjusts the nozzle. Soft water flows. The family crouches, staring at the soil. Nothing happens. Bluey pokes the dirt, peeking inside. Mom signals, "Hey!" Tiny green sprouts pop up. Everyone's eyes widen with joy. The family harvests a small bunch of vegetables. Dad proudly lifts a bundle. Dirt falls everywhere. Mom laughs. Bluey and Bingo jump with excitement. Dad sets a phone tablet on the counter and plays a cooking tutorial video. On the screen, a calm chef Spotless kitchen, smooth movements. Dad nods confidently. Dad looks at the screen, looks at the pan. On the video, neatly chopping vegetables. In real life, Dad chops. Vegetables scatter onto the floor. Dad glances back at the screen, still confident. On the video, low heat, no smoke. In real life, smoke fills the kitchen. The stove beeps, beep beep. Dad coughs and waves his hands, trying to fan the smoke away. Mom walks into the kitchen. She stops, silently observes. Messy counter smoke everywhere. Dad covered in splatters. The video still playing calmly. Mom crosses her arms, says nothing. Quick cuts, video screen, a perfect dish. Real life, a burnt pan and messy stove. Dad looks at the screen, looks at the pan, smiles awkwardly. The sandcastle. The family arrives with bags, towels, and an umbrella. Bluey and Bingo dash straight to the sand. Bluey points excitedly at a spot on the sand. Bingo nods and claps. They begin shaping a sandcastle together. Montage. Bluey piles sand quickly, crooked towers. Bingo pats the sand carefully, smooth walls. Dad tries to help, makes a lumpy blob instead. The girls exchange amused looks. A small wave creeps closer. Bluey notices and builds a wall. Bingo adds a tiny moat. The wave pauses, retreats. The kids cheer silently. The family relaxes nearby. Suddenly, a bigger wave rolls in. Slow motion, the sandcastle stands bravely. Then whoosh, washed away. Bluey and Bingo stare, stunned. Bluey slumps. Bingo pats the sand, then smiles. She starts rebuilding, smaller. Bluey joins in. The family builds many tiny sandcastles together. A gentle wave washes over them. Everyone laughs. The unexpected rain outdoors. Clouds roll in. The family is walking together when light rain begins. Dad looks up. Mom pulls the kids closer. The rain grows heavier. The family runs to take shelter under a large tree. Under the tree, they notice a small, soaked kitten, shivering. The kids crouch down gently, eyes wide with concern. Mom drapes her jacket over the kitten to keep it dry. Dad gently rubs its back. The rain stops. The family walks nearby with the kitten. A worried person runs into view, looking around anxiously. They spot the kitten, relief and joy. The person hugs the kitten and bows politely to the family. The person returns holding a basket of fresh fruit. They offer it with a grateful smile. The kids' eyes light up. Mom and Dad hesitate politely, then accept with smiles. The family walks home, sharing fruit happily. The kids laugh and munch. Hiding too well. The whole family stands in a circle. Mom is blindfolded, facing the wall. Dad and the two kids look at each other, smiling mischievously. Dad runs off quickly and hides behind the curtain. The sister hides behind the sofa. The brother looks around, then crawls under the bed, pulling a blanket with him. Mom turns around and starts searching. Mom pulls the curtain. Dad is found. Mom peeks behind the sofa. The sister is found. The two who are found stand to the side, giggling. Mom looks around. The brother is missing. She searches everywhere. Behind the door, behind the chairs. In another room, nothing. They look under the table, behind the cabinets. Suddenly, a very soft snoring sound is heard. The whole family turns. Under the bed, the brother has fallen asleep, arms hugging a pillow, mouth slightly open. Mom and Dad look at each other, shake their heads in disbelief. The sister holds her belly, giggling. The bathroom battle. Dad grabs his work bag, checks the time, worried. Mom picks up her makeup kit and heads for the bathroom. The kids clutch water toys, eyes sparkling. Everyone reaches the bathroom door at the same time. A brief stare. They all rush in together. Mom stands at the mirror, carefully applying makeup. Dad waits behind her with a toothbrush, tiptoeing. A kid turns on the faucet. Water splashes everywhere. The faucet is turned up higher. Water sprays the ceiling. Mom shields her face. Dad grabs a towel. It's already soaked. They finally step out. Dad's hair is damp. Mom's makeup is half finished. The kid still holds a water toy, smiling proudly. They all look at the clock. Late!
Oh no!
They stare at each other for a beat, then burst into silent laughter. The missing chicken. The whole family stands in front of a small chicken coop. Inside are 3 chickens. Dad pours in the feed. The two kids clap excitedly. Mom smiles. The family comes back to the coop. Dad counts on his fingers. 1, 2. Dad stops and tilts his head. One chicken is missing. The whole family's eyes widen. They split up to search. Looking behind the coop, checking the bushes, peeking under the outdoor table. The kids gesture and call for the chicken. Nothing. Everyone starts to look worried. From inside the house comes a very soft cluck-cluck. The family freezes. They look at each other. They turn and rush into the house. In a corner of the room, under a table, in the kitchen corner, the missing chicken. It has made a nest out of cloth and paper, sitting very still, sitting on an egg. The family freezes for a few seconds. The kids lean in close, eyes shining. Dad covers his mouth, laughing. Mom places a hand on her chest, relieved. A day at the farm. The family steps out of the car, looking at wide green fields. Bluey and Bingo take a deep breath, eyes shining. Mom hands seeds to Dad and points to the garden beds. Dad rolls up his sleeves and nods confidently. Bluey and Bingo spot chickens and a cow and excitedly point toward them. Mom and Dad. Dad digs the soil a bit too hard. Dirt lands on his shirt. Mom plants seeds neatly and straightens the rows. Bluey and Bingo. Bluey scatters grain. Chickens rush over clucking. Bingo carries a bucket of grass. The cow bends down to eat slowly. The kids laugh with delight. The whole family works together. Dad carries a basket of vegetables. Mom waters the plants. Bluey closes the chicken coop gate. Bingo places the feed bucket neatly aside. They exchange satisfied smiles. The family rests under a tree. Chickens peck nearby. The cow chews grass peacefully. Dad gives a big thumbs up. Bluey and Bingo lean against Mom and Dad, smiling happily. Dad holds the controller. The child holds a remote-controlled airplane. They look at each other, grinning with excitement. The airplane takes off, flying in circles, gliding past the sofa, looping around the light. The child points and cheers Dad pilots confidently. The airplane flies lower and faster. Dad keeps twisting the control stick. The child runs after it, laughing. The airplane starts to lose control. From the kitchen, Mom walks out, carrying a tray of food. At that exact moment, the plane zooms in. Mom! It hits Mom's arm. The food tray tilts. Mom freezes. Dad and the child stare, eyes wide. They both turn and run as fast as they can. One runs ahead, the other follows. The airplane falls to the floor and lies still. Mom stands there, hands on her hips. She watches them run, then sighs, shakes her head, and smiles softly. Too good at hiding, the family gathers. One person faces the wall, covering their eyes and counting. Everyone else scatters, giggling to hide. Quick, fun montage. Someone hides behind a curtain. Someone crawls under a table. One person runs farther away, searching for the perfect hiding spot. The counter turns around. The game begins. The family gathers again. One person is missing. They look around. They quietly call out. No response. The mood shifts to mild concern. Everyone spreads out, checking behind trees or walls, peeking around corners, using a small flashlight. They hear a soft noise in the distance. Behind a far corner / large bush. The missing person is hiding too well, sitting quietly, maybe half asleep or confused. They look up, see the family, then smile sheepishly.
Bingo and Bluey have trouble with the ball. It's a beautiful day. Bluey and Bingo are happily playing soccer together. The ball rolls back and forth. So much fun! Bluey and Bingo pass it back and forth, looking very happy. Unfortunately, Bluey kicks too hard, sending the ball flying far away. The ball falls straight into the pond. Oh no! The ball is floating in the middle of the pond. Bluey and Bingo try to reach out to get the ball, but they can't. At that moment, Dad walks over. Bluey and Bingo are happy to see Dad and ask him to help get the ball.
2 hours later.
Dad goes to get a long stick. Dad holds the stick, slowly pulls the ball closer. Dad gives the ball back to Bluey, and Bluey and Bingo jump up with joy.